sort of 50-year-old kind of idea, but it's only in the last couple of decades that it's reached kind of common usage. And it really is, it's a technology that's around us all over the place. As I said a few minutes ago, the Oyster card is typical RFID tag. The new passports coming out have an RFID tag built in, so the passport control can read that. All the kind of swipe card, well, not so much swipe cards, but cards you wave at a reader, they're all RFID. The security devices on goods in shops or RFID tags. And any shop that has two big kind of loop things as you walk out, there are RFID tag readers. So they're all over the place. But it's not used so much in sort of interaction design or that kind of product design. So this is really the area we're looking at. So it's basically a way of retrieving data using devices called RFID tags. So we'll be talking about tags all day today. And these can be any number of sizes. I'll show you a slide in a minute that shows a variety of things. They're very often this kind of shape because that's just a convenient sort of credit card size. And the important thing is that in principle they're very cheap. And so they can be attached to lots of devices and can be more or less treated as disposable. On our kind of level, if you're buying these work out at, I think, about £1 each or something, 80p each, something like that. But if you buy them in bulk, they're pennies. And they're either attached or even incorporated into an object, and are usually used for identifying that object, person, animal, whatever. So it's usually used for identification. So an RFID system has basic components of a reader, and this is what we've just handed out. This has an aerial, which I'll talk about in a minute, which can detect when there's an RFID tag nearby. It has a board on top that interprets what's happening, reads that, and sends the information in a form the Arduino can understand. And of course, you have lots of tags. Now the way it works is there's this board is a looped antenna, and there's a loop of wire embedded in the RFID tag, and you can actually see that better on a if I walk around. You can see that's a coil of wire with a little chip in the corner, and that couples with the antenna on the reader. There's an electromagnetic field around it. And you can get a whole variety of readers. So things looking like this are more kind of, it's that one. But you can have access on doors. I think all the doors around here are RFID readers. You can get small devices, but an interesting trend is towards phones. So Nokia has a phone with an RFID reader in it, so that you could, for instance, have an advertising sign with an RFID tag implanted in it, and if people are interested in the product, they wave their phone at it, and it can communicate with maybe the website associated with the advertising. Or another application they had was you could have in a home family portraits on the mantelpiece, each with an RFID tag behind it. And if you wanted to call that particular person, rather than sort of looking up on your phone, you just wave your phone over the picture of the person you want to talk to, and the phone can phone them up directly. Tags all have this kind of pattern of an aerial with a chip that does the clever stuff. Most of the tags we're using are, well, all the tags we're using today are passive RFID tags. That means there's no batteries on there. There's no power supply. What happens is that using this aerial, it can gather enough energy given out by this, the tag aerial to provide just enough power for the chip on board to transmit back its identification. So you don't need a battery supplied to it. That's one of the reasons why they're so versatile.
That's also why you need to put them so close to the reader to get them to work.
And that's all, exactly. That's one of the limitations of this type of RFID is this card will only work with this reader at about that distance and closer. Any further away than that, and it's not going to read it. And I'm sure you know with your Oyster card, you really do have to sort of touch it to the surface to get it to read. That's partly a security device, so that it doesn't just, when you walk past the reader, it doesn't take money off your card. But your read distance is about that far away and about this kind of vicinity. You get different types of tags. I mean, all the ones we've got today are this type, but you can get other sizes. So this is this kind of top left size. Other common ones are sort of key fob shapes, and these are discs with a hole in the centre, and they're made that way so that you can get a nail and just sort of nail it onto a packing crate, or tie a piece of string through it, tie it onto something. So you can think about it, when you think about sort of applications for your project, you could think about different types of tags, different sizes of tags. So another selection of tags, as I've said, the Oyster card down there, familiar, but you can build them into all sorts of products, advertising things, key fobs, sort of zip pulls, all that kind of thing. I know the transport system in Istanbul for years has had a RFID reader where you don't need a card like that. They sell embedded into watches and rings. So you just wave your watch at the reader. You don't have to pull out the card and press it down. So there's a whole sort of variety of things you can do. These are the kind of tags you get in clothing, library books, that kind of thing. They can be flexible and hidden away in a product. RFID tags can be very small. You've got this kind of size, a few millimeters long. And these are made to be implanted into animals and even people using this injection syringe. And the tag is implanted under the skin, and that animal can be identified. Used a lot with cats and dogs, household pets. Very useful. My brother, just a few months ago, had their cat was stolen by somebody, and they thought they'd lost it. And a few weeks later, they got a phone call from about 200 miles away saying that somebody had found his cat wandering around, and the RFID tag had told the people who found it who the cat belonged to, and he went and recovered his cat. So it's not a nice happy ending. Where otherwise you just wouldn't know. If you have a name tag, that can be taken off. If you embed this under the skin, it's there forever. Well, until the animal dies. And of course, you can do this in humans. I've met a guy who did this so that he attached a reader to his computer so he didn't have to enter passwords anymore. He just embedded one of these in his hand, and he could just wave his hand instead of entering passwords. Seems a little bit extreme. I know there's a nightclub in California where the VIP members get one of these implanted under their skin, and they get VIP access to various places in the club. I've forgotten the name of it. It's, you just sort of wave your hand over things and you get access. But it's mostly used for animals.